What's going on, everyone? So yesterday, the Miami Heat eliminated the Chicago Bulls from playoff contention, and it just is another moment that further validates that it's time for Chicago to tear it down. It really is. They probably should have done it the last 2 years and just decided not to. I was calling for it in the past offseason. I was calling for it at the trade deadline, right? Like, start selling these pieces off to the highest bidder. And I understand that some people look at it, well, like Chicago, they can't tank because of pick stuff. They already are, right? Like, how much worse can you be, right? Like, how much, like, they have still, like, you can sell off a lot of your key pieces and still have, key pieces, still have like a Kobe White, right? And you're going to get pieces of value, right? Like, Chicago had some very nice pieces that many teams probably would have been vying for and may have given you some actual pieces and assets to kind of hit the rebuild, right? Like, so who cares if you go from the 10th seed to the 12th seed, right? Like, you're still bad. You're still not a playoff team. You're still not getting, a terrible pick. You're still giving up a good pick to these teams. Like, it's just, to me, it's like, at what point do you say, all right, like, we're tired of being mediocre, let's hit the reset button? Because any reset button is going to take time anyway, right? It's not like they're going to hit the reset button this offseason and by the trade deadline same year, all of a sudden they're contenders. Like, it's very likely not going to happen unless they end up figuring out a way to get 2 superstars or something, right? But even then, it's like, how and with what, right? Like, I don't blame Chicago for going in, right? Like, there was a moment where this team looked like, they could be terrifying, right? And yes, I understand with Lonzo Ball, like, that was always the hope, like, Lonzo will come back and be the piece that put it together, as we saw the first year they got together. But he's not. And it's been years now. And even if he does come back next season, who knows what he looks like or how long, if he's a shell of himself, what? We have no idea. And you're hinging that Lonzo Ball is going to take you from a team that's the 10th seed to a real bona fide contender? No. Right? Are you really a piece away from being a bona fide contender? No. Right? Unless you get some like crazy superstar. But even then, it's like, who are you getting? Right? To me, it's like, hit the reset button. Take your losses. No one's going to blame you for trying to push your chips to the table and it didn't work out. Right? Like, that's what an organization's supposed to do. It unfortunately just didn't work out. Right? They were never able to kind of get over the hump. They weren't able to stay healthy in a lot of ways. So to me, like, start shipping off. The problem with DeMar DeRozan is, like, now he doesn't have to work with you. He doesn't have to do anything. And he's talked about how, he wants to stay in Chicago and, he it's never changed, but he wants to win, right? Because he's only getting older. He's not a spring chicken anymore. He's not, 27 anymore. Right, so to him, how long is he going to be okay with being not even making the playoffs? Right, at what point do you just go, okay, it's time for me to go elsewhere and try to go compete for a championship? He's 34. What are you going to do? You're going to give him another contract? Now he's pushing 37, 38 by the time that contract's done, and you're still mediocre? And why would DeMar want to do that? Where if you sold him, there were teams that were desperate at the trade deadline that may have given you quite a return for DeMar DeRozan. Right, Zach LaVine. They had multiple opportunities to move off of Zach LaVine and just decided to be greedy and try to get, he's making $40 million a year. He's injury prone. And how many teams are looking at Zach LaVine as the piece that they need to put him over the top? You're not going to get some Kevin Durant return for Zach LaVine. And so what happens? Right? They play around. They turn down all these offers and potential to trade him. And then Detroit mentions his name and he goes, I'm just going to do surgery, right? Like, and again, it's Chicago's incompetence that just keeps putting them in this position. Everybody, even Chicago fans saw the writing on the wall and were screaming for them to trade guys and recoup assets. Now you're hoping DeMar DeRozan, you can work out some type of sign and trade, or at least, re-sign him till the trade deadline and work something out. But he doesn't have to. He doesn't owe you anything. He's not obliged to. I understand he said he wants to stay in Chicago, but, how many times has he been in a position where, oh, yeah, being in Toronto, I want to stay in Toronto. Toronto says that they're going to keep him, they're going to do this, that, and the other, and then Toronto ends up shipping him out, right? San Antonio. Right? Now he's in Chicago. It's like, to me, Chicago's got to do the right thing. Do right by DeMar, and say, hey, man, where do you want to go? We'll try to work out a sign and trade. That'll help us get some assets. All right, we'll hit the reset button. We're not going to be able to build a contender this year. So let's try to get you where you want to go. That would send resounding sounds throughout the league for other stars of like, hey, we'll take care of you. We'll be here. We'll do these things. Why do a lot of the same teams get the same stars over and over? Because they take care and they do right by their stars. DeMar did a lot for this organization. Okay, where do you want to go? How do you want me to? I mean, it's what San Antonio did, right? Where do you want to go? How do you want to do this, right? Like, that's how you approach this in the offseason. And if he wants to go to Miami, you figure out a way to send him to Miami. You try to get as much back in return as possible. He goes to Miami, all is good. Zach LaVine, right, where do you want to go? You try to figure it out where he can go. You try to do right by him. You try to get as much of a return as possible. You, in my opinion, continue the sell-off. Alex Caruso, I think, could yield you a solid return because basically his contract is cheap enough that basically every contender in the league would be trying to go and acquire him. So I think you could get a bidding war on that. Probably get a first-round pick for Caruso. Maybe get a young player that has some promise from one of these teams. And you just start putting the pieces together. Start laying the groundwork and foundation for the future. Vu, I would, same thing. Trade him to the highest bidder. Right? There's several teams that would probably be interested in trading for Vu. I mean, like the Warriors is probably going to retool and need a center. Right? At some point, you got to get a real center. Can you work something out to where, you get like a Moses Moody and like a pick or something? I mean, obviously, you got to have some salary fill or whatever, but like, you get my point. Like, can you work something out to where, you're getting a young player that you're high on and that you think has some good upside, plus some picks and some assets, and then, you compile all these things by selling off the vet guys. You keep Kobe White, you could trade Williams if you wanted to, right? But ultimately, just start laying the groundwork and foundation. Then your hope is that you hit on one or two of these young guys. You get some draft picks from other guys. You stack up assets, and then maybe a star becomes available, and you can go, hey, let's get you to Chicago, right? Let's get you in a Bulls jersey, right? Like, look at what Kobe White's doing. Look at what let's say Moses Moody, right? Like, look at what Moses Moody is doing. Right? Imagine you alongside these two. Imagine how good you'd be, right? Like, that's the idea. But at some point, you got to hit the reset button. At some point, you have to make some type of change because at this point, it's the literal definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, it's not happening. You're not making the playoffs. Even when you do, you're not going anywhere. Right? Like, and what are you going to do this offseason that's going to turn you into a contender? You're not flipping Zach LaVine for Donovan Mitchell or anything like that. So, like, what are you going to do that's going to make you a real contender? And you're counting on an aging star who, don't get me wrong, DeMar DeRozan's still been great, but he's only getting older, right? And I don't believe he's a number one guy that's going to lead you to a championship. Zach LaVine has had his injury issues these last few years, and the relationship with Chicago seems to be done. So, what? And again, Zach LaVine, I don't think is a number one, number two guy. Like, who's your number one on this team? Right? And if you can get a number one, how? Right? Like, I think it's time to move on. You have a guy in Kobe White who's shown a lot of promise. That looks like a guy that could potentially be a great foundation piece. Will he be the number one guy on a contender? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. But even if he's not, it's still a good place to start. He's 24 years old. He averaged 19, 5, and 5 this year. Right? He had a very good season. One of the most improved. Put up 42 points in that play-in game. Right? This guy doesn't appear to be afraid of the moment. He can rebound. He can do a lot of things. He can still make plays. Right? Like, you got your potential all-star level player that you can use as your foundation to build around. And you start putting other young pieces around him. And you see if you can create a team. How much worse can you be? Again, like, you're not going to be that much worse. You're already missing the playoffs in the 10th seed, missing the playoffs. Right? So, like, again, like, okay, instead of being finishing 10th or 9th or whatever, okay, like, you still missed the playoffs. Okay, let's say you finish 11th. Okay, like, again, it's not like the East is this like super juggernaut where like if you just build a half competent team, you're gonna win some games. You're gonna be good. You're gonna be good enough to at least be in the conversation, right? To maybe be in the play-in. You build a competent team around Kobe White with the vets and the pieces that you have. All of a sudden, you're in the play-in again, right? Like, yeah, people might look at it and go, "Oh, once again, another year, another play-in." But at least this time, it's with a young team that is getting experience that has upside and promise. Then you hope next year you get in the first round, then the second, then the third, and all of a sudden you're in the championship, right? Like that's the idea. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think time to blow it up? Chicago's got to make a tough call, got to make a tough decision. Do you think no? Stay the course. Keep everybody. Try to run it back. See if you can kind of trim around the edges, upgrade it in certain areas. How you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.